So it has an outer membrane, it has an inner membrane, then there's a gap in between the membranes called as intermembranal space, and the background inside is called as stroma, and these piled up structure are thylakoids, and each pile is called as granum. So the total thing, each one of them can be called as granal thylakoid adjective form. Now granules are in link with these single lamellae or thylakoids called as intergranal thylakoid. Inter means in between two, joining them together. Also called as stromal thylakoid because it is present in the stroma. Also called as fret channels. Now these are the site of the pigment. So light reaction takes place in thylakoids, and the dark reaction takes place in stroma. It carries all the pigments, it carries no pigment, it carries no enzymes. Stroma carries all the enzymes required for dark reaction formation, dark reaction to be carried out. Now the next main thing to understand here is there are DNA, RNA, ribosomes. I have skipped all that because it is not essential to understand in this context, because in the cell, the unit of life, we have already done detail of the structure of the chloroplast. Now the another main thing to remember here is that how do you distinguish between stroma and grana? So remember, stroma is the matrix of the chloroplast and granum is the stacks of the thylakoid. The stacked up or piled up thylakoid is called as a granum. Now stroma carries no photosynthetic pigment, and grana carries all the photosynthetic pigments, and it is this, and then the stroma is the site of the dark reaction, also called as biosynthetic reaction, and the granum is the site of the light reaction. So remember, both are dependent on each other. So we will be learning this detail later in this chapter itself. Now remember, photosynthetic prokaryotes do not have chloroplast. We all know this diagram belongs to eukaryotic cell. So what happened in the case of prokaryotes is they do not have chloroplast, but they have single or loosely arranged or freely present network of thylakoids. So they do not have chloroplast, they only have freely occurring thylakoids in their cytoplasm. Now the next main thing to understand are the pigments which are involved, just give me a second, which are involved in the process of the photosynthesis. So the pigments involved in the process of photosynthesis are called as the photosynthetic pigments. Now NCERT says that these are the substances which are able to absorb the light. So I have modified it from the Google. It says that substances which have the ability to absorb light, and that ability is for particular specific wavelengths only. So photosynthetic pigments are the pigments which absorb specific wavelengths of light and perform the activity of food preparation, because without this absorption of the particular wavelengths of light, photosynthesis cannot occur, because light reaction deals with the absorption of this light. Now the various pigments which are present are chlorophyll, then we have carotenoids, then we have phycobilins also. NCERT only talks about the chlorophylls and the carotenoids. Now what are chlorophylls? So when you draw a diagram of chlorophyll, though detail comes in biochemistry in your college level, but I just have drawn a cartoonic sketch of the chlorophyll. So the chlorophyll basically is made up of two things. This is the head region and this is the tail region. The head region is called as the porphyrin head, and the tail region is called as the phytol tail. Now this head is made up of 4 rings. You can count here 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 similar structures present. Each ring is called as a pyrrole. There are double R here, pyrrole. So tetrapyrrole, because there are 4 rings present there. So porphyrin head is also called as tetrapyrrole rings or tetrapyrrolic ring head. And then in the center of these, or you can say all these 4 rings are attached to the central single atom, that is the magnesium. So there is a single magnesium present in the center of each chlorophyll pigment, and then there is a long hydrocarbon chain which is called as the phytol tail. Now I have mentioned the number of carbons, hydrogen and oxygen, which are present in this tail. So it's a hydrocarbon chain, that's why it is called as the phytol tail. Now this is the normal diagram for every chlorophyll. Now the universal pigment for photosynthesis we all know is chlorophyll A, and its molecular formula I have mentioned here, C55. Remember, they all will carry CHONMG. This will be the sequence to understand or to memorize it. So universal pigment for chlorophyll, universal pigment for photosynthesis is chlorophyll A, and its formula is C55 H72O5 N4 Mg. Remember, it is bluish green in appearance, and its third position carbon in every ring is going to carry methyl group. So the side group present here is methyl group. In comparison to the chlorophyll B, the side group is aldehyde group, and it appears olive green in color. So this is dark green color, light green color, and its formula is C55 H70O6 N4 Mg. Mg means just one magnesium would be there. Chlorophyll C is C35 H32O5 N4 Mg, and remember, chlorophyll C does not carry any tail, so there is only a head. And remember, chlorophyll D is also there with the formula of C54 H70O6 N4 Mg. So various types are there, A, B, C, D, E, even E type is there. So different scientists have different timing reported different types of chlorophylls. Now chlorophylls, main thing is but they all are soluble in organic solvents, and when you compare them with the bacteriochlorophylls, so bacteriochlorophylls are also of various types, and the main one is bacteriochlorophyll A, and its formula is C55 H74O6 N4 Mg, quite similar to the formula of chlorophyll B as well as A. Now remember that these pigments are found in green and purple bacteria. That same bacteria Cornelius von Nehl used for his experiment, green and purple photosynthetic bacteria.